Hey friends, today we are making a super easy, super yummy sweet treat, pecan bars. Let's get to it. Well, hello friends. I hope all of you are doing well. And I'm back with another fall recipe. I'm trying to get into the fall spirit. Pecan bars. And it's funny. I was looking for like fall type recipes to do and to video, and I told my husband, yes, I picked out what I want to do. I'm gonna do pecan bars because I think pecan pie and pecan anything is a fall food, and I kind of got a deer in headlight look from him, and I was like, what, are you not agreeing with me? You don't He said, I really think pecans are like an everyday type of food, not a seasonal. But, I disagreed with him. I said, if you go to a restaurant and you're saying, I want the Thanksgiving dinner, usually for your dessert choices, they're going to say pumpkin pie or pecan pie. It's usually that's like a traditional. And, I was like, I was questioning myself on whether, I was thinking of this in the right way. So I went and seen when pecans are harvested. I was like, I'm just going to see for myself. Well, they're harvested from October to December. So I'm like, yes, this is a fall food. I get that you can have pecans in just about any time, especially if you're living in a privileged place where you can go to a market and buy um, just about any kind of food that you want to year round, like say tomatoes. Tomatoes you can buy year round, but they're harvested mainly like in the summer and in the fall. So they're mainly kind of like a summer food, right? And so I was just looking at it like that, but I'm curious how many people agree or disagree. Like, what would you say? Would you say that pecans are, well, I hope that you're not disappointed if you disagree, and I hope for the ones that agree are like, yes, pecan bars. So that's the reason why I went this direction and chose pecan bars for another fall recipe. But let me know what you think. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about this recipe. Uh, I got this recipe from a dear lady who went to my grandmother's church. And grandma always told me, she said, this particular lady she thought was the best cook in the church. And so on some occasion, I can't remember why I was there, but I was visiting my grandmother's church with my grandmother. It could have been Mother's Day or something like that, because a lot of times my mom and a lot of the family would get together and go to church with my grandmother on her birthday or Mother's Day or something like that. But they were having some kind of a dinner, and I remember it was like a potluck dinner, and we were, getting a plate or whatever, and then going back up for something sweet, and the pecan bars were there, and I tried one, and oh, I loved it. And so, you know how you do at the potlucks, somebody will try something and say, oh, I've got to have this recipe. Who brought this? Who brought the pie? Who brought the cake? Who brought this potato salad or whatever? And then you try to get recipes of how did you do this? And so anyway, I went to the lady that my grandmother said is the best cook, and I said, can I please have the recipe for these? These are so good. And so she was gracious enough to share it with me. However, that being said, this lady, like my grandmother, was a good Southern cook. And have you ever asked a lady that is, I don't want to say, well, I'll tell you this, she's been cooking so long that sometimes measurements are not exactly like my grandmother when she cooks cornbread and stuff. She will say, or she did say, well, I don't know how much flour I put in that. It's just a spoonful of this and a spoonful of that, and I just have to look and eyeball it. And that's how a lot of, especially Southern older cooks, I'll say more mature cooks, did. They don't, grandma would say, I don't know how much salt to put in there. I just put in a little bit and I taste it. See if it's, they don't exactly have measurements. I said all that to say, in the original recipe, it was written that there were 1 cup of pecans that goes on the pecan bars. Now, when I made this recipe, and this was the first time I made it, even though it was really good and everything, I just, sometimes, I'll just get lazy and not want to look through my recipes, my handwritten recipes, or my cookbooks, and I'll just look online for something to inspire me to cook. So doing these videos has really forced me to get out of my comfort zone and look through my cookbooks and things. Well, the recipe says 1 cup of pecans, but when I made this, and you'll see, later on in this video, I'll show you what the 1 cup of pecans look like. And I thought to myself, that's not going to cut it. Now, maybe it was originally supposed to be chopped up in little small pieces. I can't remember because it's been a little bit since I had the bar, so I can't remember if they were chopped up or not. But I just put the pecan halves in there, and when I put the 1 cup, I just eyeballed it and looked and said, no, that's not going to do. So I suggest for anyone making this, see, there you go, that's the 1 cup, that's what it looks like. I suggest for anybody making this, go ahead and either chop up your 1 cup and see if that'll cover it, but it should, the pecans should mostly cover your dish. So I doubled it and put 2 cups in there. And I left it at halves like that. And truth be told, I could probably, if I had more, I would have probably put a little bit extra on there, because I thought even 2 cups doesn't look like it covers it all that well. So that being said, especially if you leave it in halves, 2 cups, maybe a tad more if you have them, would cover the top. Hey friends, I just want to make mention that the full recipe to this pecan bar is in the description part of the video. I'd also like to point out that when you bring your pecan bars out, there may be a little tad bit of wiggle in it instead of being completely firm, and that's okay. Just put some foil on it and let it sit. I would let it sit for probably at least 30 minutes. I let mine sit overnight in the microwave, so at least 30 minutes to continue firming up. Well, good morning, friends. So it's the next day, and we are going to get our pecan bars down and take them out of the pan and taste them, give them a taste test and all. I have a little confession to make. I cut the pecan bars out of the pan, and I went ahead and did a tasting and recorded it, but I did not like what I seen when I played it back, so I thought, I guess this means I'm going to have to do another tasting in front of the camera. I have to have a second piece of pecan bar. Sad. No, it's not really. Let me tell you something. First of all, when you do make these, the smell, the aroma that this gives off bacon is so wonderful. I was starving my husband to death last night, and he wasn't hungry. It's one of those things that kind of draw you in, and you wish you could kind of bottle it up and put that in a candle smell, but if you did, you'd probably eat everything in front of you. That might be too much information, sorry. But let me go ahead and tell you, I know how this tastes already. Guys, these are really good, really super good, and they're very easy to put together. And I would suggest that when you do bring it out of the oven, even if you're not going to let it sit overnight, I would suggest to let it sit and cool. When I first brought it out of the oven, I noticed there was a tiny little bit of like it wasn't completely like firm set. But then this morning when I checked it, completely firm. This is like a, tastes like, gives you the feeling of like pecan pie. So if you like pecan pie, you're gonna love these. And very much will satisfy your sweet tooth. And it's kind of, I consider pecan pies and that kind of fallish autumn. So it's good for this time of year. I mean, it's mostly around Thanksgiving, things like that, pecans and pumpkin. But either way, good treat year round. And like I said, these are pretty simple, especially when it comes with a box cake mix. And can't beat that for quickness.
Hey friends, thanks for hanging out. If you found any value in this video, let's be friends and subscribe, hit the like button, notification bell, all the things. I'll catch up with you in the next video. Until then, blessings to you. Take care.